The Surge thrusts players into a dystopian future where unchecked technological advancements and corporate greed intertwine, merging into a chaotic outbreak of robotically augmented and now corrupted humans and machines. The sci-fi Souls-like RPG puts you in control of a disabled man called Warren, who lives in an overpopulated and rapidly eroding world due to climate change. Creo is one of the world's largest companies, and they claim to have all the answers on how to reverse the Earth's ecological pending doom, and they've hired Warren as one of their employees to help facilitate their mission to save the planet. So Warren, on his first day as an employee of Creo, gets to decide which role he'd like to take on between a heavy operator, that's basically a tank build, or a field technician, which is effectively the dexterity build. Your build can be changed further into the game, so I wouldn't worry too much at this point, but it also provides Warren with the unique opportunity of being able to stand and walk again thanks to these revolutionary exoskeleton suits the Creo employees wear, known as rigs. All hunky-dory so far, that is, until Warren's operation to integrate himself with his new exo rig goes horribly and painfully wrong due to the sedation not working, and poor old Warren is very much awake during this invasive procedure. Warren awakens in an eerie junkyard just outside the factory and finds his procedure wasn't the only malfunctioning automaton on the Creo premises, and so the Surge begins. Robots going rogue is hardly the most innovative storyline, but it was still one that I enjoyed nonetheless. As if poor old Warren's first day on the job couldn't get any more difficult, even the non-corrupted Creo staff members were hazing him on his first day.
Don't forget your...
What was that? Don't forget my what? What mustn't I forget? That sounded like vital information. Let's play that again.
You're still here. I can't do any more for you.
Oh, how wonderful! Now some obnoxiously loud machine is drowning out your vitally important instructions.
Or you're not going to get very far.
Well, I guess I'm not getting very far then. The Surge delivers a combat system that is both brutal and very satisfying, with some barbaric kill cams that can be pretty valuable when surrounded for those precious iframes. When it comes to the actual feel of the Surge combat, it's a very slow and pragmatic combat system. Even the more nimble and the dexterity focused weapons feel very weighty, and each swing seems to take an age regardless of your weapon choice. Some more than others of course, but the reward is that when that monstrously metallic melee weapon connects, it connects hard with a very impactful feeling. Precise timing and careful execution are of equal importance, but the standout feature to the Surge's combat is the strategic targeting, and that's for two reasons. The first going hand in hand with how impactful each strike feels, like I've mentioned, with each successful strike bringing a palpable sense of accomplishment. That accomplishment provides a literal reward, similar to how certain bosses in the Soul series can drop unique weapons if you were to chop off their tail, for example. Except the Surge doubles down on that aspect, offering a detailed limb targeting system allowing you to dismember enemies and extract valuable weapons and pieces of armor, adding such a fun and additional layer of depth to the combat. If you want a full set of armor, then get chopping. Each limb will give you that body part's armor schematic, or lopping off the enemy's arm that's holding their weapon will provide that weapon schematic. If you're not out there hunting specific armor parts or weapons, then more often than not, the enemies will have a weak spot, and flicking the stick towards that body part will highlight it blue, and this makes much lighter work of each enemy. Another feature to the combat that was unique but wasn't that fun to execute sadly was the directional dodging system, where pointing the stick would either jump or duck an incoming attack. This was only really useful against certain enemies though, and I felt like it was more of a half idea compared to the fully fleshed out limb targeting system. The bosses, on the other hand, do let the combat down a little. I felt like some were a little gimmicky and others had a very linear approach to how you actually take them down. They still present a decent challenge, but the challenge was more of a mundane one than an exciting one where I'd be eager to run back to prove that I'd learnt from my mistakes. Sticking with the concept of enemies though, there wasn't a very diverse selection to fight, with the majority being humans or once humans, the occasional drone, these incredibly annoying dog-like robots, and the huge, very immobile but hard-hitting cranes. Each human does have different armor categories and fighting styles, but even so, it's not the widest range of enemy designs. So you'll be collecting schematics from enemies, but in the process of doing that, you'll also be collecting scrap, which is the game's currency. You do lose your scrap on death, and it's arguably even more punishing than the soul system. You have one chance to get it back from the place you died, but there's a time limit to do so. You'll take your new schematics and scrap back to a checkpoint to craft these schematics and spend your scrap on upgrading Warren's rig core power and upgrading your armor parts through their rankings as well. There's a decent number of weapons to choose from, but I found you'll quickly narrow down the best weapons to use, with a fair few of them leaning more towards showmanship than actual damage output. Upgrading the core power of Warren's rig will increase the total number of implants that he can use, as well as the quality of the armor pieces you can equip. In layman's terms, the more core power you have, the more and better quality items you can apply to your build. There's a good variety of implants, some of which can be hot swapped and others that can only be swapped at a checkpoint. The implants range from things like the number of health injectables that you can carry, stamina increases, or your overall health. Warren will eventually unlock his own handy little drones as well, which again didn't feel very useful during combat, even though there's different types of drones that'll do different things like pulling enemies closer, area of effect slowdown, or fire damage. The main use that I found for my drone was simply separating enemies by using the ranged attack to draw them over, and then later into the game Warren will gain access to a special tool for the drone that can unlock certain doors. And that brings me on to the level design and overall setting. It's such a dark and foreboding world that is intricately designed. The industrial environments are meticulously crafted, showcasing a blend of futuristic technology and decaying infrastructure, albeit the environments do get a little samey due to the whole game being set in a factory. The amount of enemies hiding around corners added such an intense level of caution to every step that I'd take, and the atmosphere is further enhanced by the haunting soundtrack that provides such an immersive experience that keeps you on edge throughout your journey. The physical level design was fantastic as well. There's not that many levels to actually explore, with 6 in total, and you'll be backtracking through one of the main areas twice, but these levels are so dense. Each level has one checkpoint, which makes for a pretty unnecessarily grueling trek back to the boss arenas, but your basic exploration of each level was constantly unveiling shortcut after shortcut. I was consistently surprised by the number of times I'd open a previously unlocked door or lift to find myself back at the checkpoint, and even more so when backtracking through areas where opening one door would open a whole new area to navigate. I think The Surge is a truly exhilarating and challenging RPG that offers a fresh take on the genre with regards to the limb targeting system. The overall feel of the combat is intense, and albeit the storyline wasn't exactly innovative, it still gripped me. Alongside the limb targeting system, I think the detailed world building and deep customization options are another standout feature to The Surge, which provides a memorable experience for fans of sci-fi and action RPGs alike. So if you're ready to embrace a futuristic world filled with danger and intrigue, The Surge is an absolute must play. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please drop a like and consider subscribing. I've left my Patreon and donation links in the description for anyone who's got the capacity to help support the channel further, but a like and a subscribe is more than enough already. See you in the next one.